The world has always followed a pattern that neither does anyone's rise last forever, nor does anyone's arrogance. When the rope of Zom grows longer, the oppressor begins to feel that no one can hold him accountable. But when the wheel of consequences turns, thrones and crowns are reduced to dust. This is also the story of such a powerful man who was proud of his wealth, but fate struck him in such a place where his gold and silver became worthless. This is the account of an ancient settlement where the rule of landlord Suleiman was shining in full glory. Suleiman was not just a landlord, but the uncrowned king of that region. The high walls and grand gates of his mansion were built on the sighs and cries of the poor. He believed that justice was in his fist and the law was at the tip of his shoes. One day, he was sitting in the wide courtyard of his mansion. Lines of arrogance were visible on his face, and there was a rosary in his hand, but his heart was empty of remembrance of God. Suddenly, there was a knock on the heavy gate of the mansion. An elderly woman, Zainab Bibi, entered breathlessly. Her white shawl was torn in many places, and her eyes carried the exhaustion of years. She stood before Suleiman with folded hands. "Suleiman Saab, for the sake of God, have mercy on me. Do not take away my few marlas of land. It is the only support for my orphan grandsons. If it is taken away, we will be left on the street." Suleiman burst into laughter, a laughter filled with humiliation of humanity. He raised his head arrogantly and said, "Old woman, I have set my eyes on that land. There I will build a new stable for my valuable horses. What need do beggars like you have for land? Go away from here, or my dogs will chew your bones."
Tears began to flow from Zainab Bibi's eyes. She looked toward the ground and then toward the sky. Her lips trembled and a voice emerged that seemed to reach the highest heavens. "Suleiman, remember this. Today you have taken away my shelter. One day will come when you will search for refuge and you will not find shade anywhere. Allah will test you through the thing most beloved to you." Time kept turning. Suleiman's business flourished. His wealth increased beyond measure. But the true center of Suleiman's life was his only daughter, Zoya. Zoya, who was the light of Suleiman's eyes and the peace of his heart. Suleiman raised her like a princess. When Zoya grew up, Suleiman arranged her marriage into the most prominent family in the city. The mansion was filled with celebration. Guests were invited from far and wide, and such food was prepared whose fragrance spread throughout the entire village. But fate keeps its account pending. 2 days before the wedding, when the entire mansion was illuminated with lights, suddenly Zoya collapsed unconscious in her room. Suleiman came running. He placed his daughter's head in his lap. "Daughter, open your eyes. See, your father is here." But Zoya's eyes had turned lifeless. Her body had become cold like ice. Renowned physicians and doctors from the city were called. Suleiman opened sacks of money, but every doctor gave the same answer. "Suleiman Sahib, this is not any apparent illness. This is something else."
That night was the longest night of Suleiman's life. He was sitting beside his daughter's bed crying when suddenly he fell asleep. In his dream, he saw the same old woman, Zainab Bibi. She was standing in a deserted graveyard, pointing her finger at him and saying, "Suleiman, you destroyed my home today. Your own home is about to be destroyed. If you seek forgiveness, then find me. Otherwise, your daughter's sobs will set your lifetime earnings on fire." Suleiman woke up in panic. Outside, a storm had begun. Thunder was roaring. He looked at the clock. It was the last part of the night. A fear took hold of his heart unlike anything he had ever felt before. He called out to his servants, "Find out where that old woman is." The servant replied, trembling, "Sir, she left the village years ago. It is said she went beyond the mountains to a distant settlement." Suleiman did not look at his turban nor his shoes. He looked at Zoya's lifeless face and like a madman rushed out of the mansion doors. He did not know how difficult the journey would be. He only knew that his daughter's life was hidden in the forgiveness of that old woman.
When the vessel of a person's sins is filled, the earth is made narrow for him.
Suleiman, the landlord, who once could not find peaceful sleep even on the silk beds of his mansion, was now wandering barefoot on thorny paths. The darkness of the night and the stormy rain had surrounded him, but the fire burning in his heart was far more terrifying than the storm outside. Many hours had passed since he left the mansion. Due to the rain, the dirt roads had turned into mud, where his expensive clothes were now covered in filth. Suleiman, who had never stepped into harsh sunlight, now had his feet colliding with stones and bleeding. He would stretch his hands before every passerby and ask in a trembling voice, "For the sake of God, tell me where I can find that widow, Zainab Bibi. Where is her home?" People looked at him with astonishment. Some moved on, thinking he was mad, while others smiled with contempt. An old traveler stopped him and said, "Traveler, the woman you are searching for, her home was destroyed by that cruel Suleiman. Now she no longer lives in this settlement, but somewhere beyond the mountains, in the Valley of Longing. But remember, the path to reach there is beyond your endurance."
Suleiman's journey continued. He was in a terrible state from hunger and thirst. He lost his way and wandered into a dense forest. There, in every branch of the trees, he saw the hand of Zainab Bibi, cursing him. In the whistling of the winds, he heard the sobs of his daughter Zoya. He cried out, "Zoya, my child, do not lose courage. Your father is coming back with forgiveness." At one place, exhausted, he collapsed near an old well. He was extremely thirsty. He tried to draw water from the well, but saw that the bucket was missing. He bent down, trying to pull water with his hands, and saw in the water the face of his daughter, which had turned pale. He recoiled in anguish. He realized that just as he had made the poor yearn for a single drop of water, today, fate was making him suffer in the same way. Wandering aimlessly, he reached a small settlement where some people were sitting around a fire. Suleiman asked them for shelter. One man looked at him and said, "Your face resembles that arrogant Suleiman who seized our brother's land." Suleiman, in fear, covered his face. For the first time in his life, he felt afraid of his own identity. He realized that the name wealth had given him was hollow. He was given a piece of dry bread to eat, the same bread he would never have thrown even before his dogs. He swallowed it with tears, and with every bite, he remembered the tears of the oppressed.
Days were passing, and Suleiman's journey showed no sign of ending. Every moment he was consumed by the fear that his daughter might breathe her last behind him. He climbed the mountains, falling, stumbling, and rising again. The wounds on his feet had filled with infection, but he could not stop. He gave his gold ring to a shepherd so that he could show him the correct path to Zainab Bibi's settlement. The shepherd took the ring and pointed toward a high peak from where smoke was rising. When Suleiman reached that peak, before him stood a broken hut. His heart began to beat rapidly. Was this the place? Would that woman forgive him? He knocked on the door of the hut with trembling hands. From inside, a weak voice came. Who is it? Calling out to a life that is about to turn to dust in this desolation? The ground slipped from beneath Suleiman's feet. It was the same voice that had cursed him at the gates of his mansion. He collapsed outside on the dirt. His arrogance had turned to dust, and a flood of tears flowed from his eyes.
It is said that the strike of Allah comes without sound, but when it falls, it brings kings to stand at the feet of beggars. Suleiman, the landlord, before whom no one dared to raise their head, was now lying in the dirt outside a broken hut. The beats of his heart were demanding an account of his sins. The door slowly opened. The same old woman, Zainab Bibi, stepped out, leaning on her stick. When she saw the tattered man lying in the dirt before her, she did not recognize him. "Traveler, who are you? And why are you lying here in this condition?" Suleiman gathered his courage and held Zainab Bibi's feet. His sobs broke loose. "For the sake of God, recognize me. I am that same sinner Suleiman who destroyed your home. Today I have come to beg for the life of my only daughter. Forgive me, otherwise my Zoya will die." Old wounds returned to Zainab Bibi's eyes.
She pulled her foot back and said in a trembling voice, "Suleiman, I had forgiven you that very day because my Lord loves those who forgive. But the fire you lit by extinguishing the hearths of the poor will not be put out so easily. Go first and seek forgiveness from the one whose life you destroyed."
Suleiman looked at her in shock. Which person? I have wronged many people. Whom should I search for? Zainab Bibi gestured inside the hut, where a young man was sitting, reading old books. He was a simple, yet radiant-faced boy. Zainab Bibi said, "This is my adopted son, Imran. 20 years ago, I found him in an injured state by the side of a canal. He was wearing expensive clothes, but he did not even remember his name. I raised him. I made him a human being. This is the same son, Suleiman, whom you had thrown into the jungle at birth for the sake of your false pride, because having a son from your first wife was considered against your family tradition. Or perhaps he became a victim of some conspiracy." The ground slipped from beneath Suleiman's feet. He remembered that dark day 20 years ago, when out of his ego and desire for a second marriage, he had removed this innocent son from his life, calling him ill-fated. Today, fate had brought him to stand before that very son, Imran, who had now become a learned and well-mannered young man, was looking in astonishment at this stranger, whom he was being told was his father. Suleiman, in desperation, stretched his hands toward Imran. "My son, forgive me. I wronged you as well, and I wronged your mother. Zainab Bibi, my daughter, your sister, is on her deathbed. If you do not forgive me, I will be left with nothing." Tears came into Imran's eyes, but there was no anger in his tone, rather a strange calm. He said, "I have never even seen you, so what hatred? But the mother who raised me, if her heart has been hurt, then you will have to answer for that." Zainab Bibi stepped forward, placed her hand on Imran's head, and said to Suleiman, "Suleiman, you gathered wealth, but I gathered this jewel. Today your daughter's life lies in the prayer of this son whom you had cast into the dust." In that moment, Suleiman felt that time was slipping away. He pleaded, "What must I do? I am ready to sacrifice everything." Zainab Bibi set a strict condition. "You must return all those properties, all those lands that you took from people to their rightful heirs, and you must give this son of yours the place that was his right. If you do this, then Allah will also forgive you." Suleiman immediately agreed. He sat right there on the ground, and on a piece of paper that Imran had, he wrote his will and placed his seal on it. But one harsh test still remained. Did his daughter Zoya have enough time? Suleiman pleaded with Imran and Zainab Bibi to come with him to the mansion, but Zainab Bibi said, "Go, Suleiman. Your test is still ongoing. We will come when you have given up your properties." Suleiman once again ran back on the same cut-in path, but this time there was no burden in his heart, rather the hope of forgiveness. But would he reach in time? The sand of time was slipping from Suleiman's hands. The return journey became a fire of repentance that burned the pharaoh within him to ashes. Now he cared neither for his wounds nor felt hunger. In his ears only one voice echoed, "Hurry, Suleiman, lest before your repentance is accepted, your world is destroyed." Many days later, when Suleiman reached the gates of his mansion, the festival lights had been extinguished, and a silence like death had fallen over the place. The servants could not recognize their master because the Suleiman who once ruled in silk now appeared as a dust-covered beggar. He stumbled and ran toward Zoya's room. There, the doctors had lowered their heads, and his wife was crying uncontrollably. Zoya's body lay motionless, her breathing so faint that the line between life and death had almost vanished. Suleiman fell at his daughter's feet. He placed the will in which he had transferred all his wealth to the poor onto Zoya's bed and raised his hands toward the sky and cried, "O Lord of the universe, I have placed my arrogance at your feet. I have returned people's rights. I have accepted the son I once rejected for my pride. O Allah, give life to my daughter,
even if you take my own life instead." Seeing Suleiman cry, the walls of the mansion seemed to tremble.
At that very moment, footsteps were heard at the mansion gate. Zainab Bibi and Imran Suleiman's son entered inside. Imran stepped forward, placed his hand on his trembling sister's head, and began a deeply emotional prayer. Suleiman's eyes witnessed a scene he could never have imagined. The son he had once thrown into the dust was now the one trying to save his daughter's life. As the prayer ended, there was a faint movement in Zoya's hands. She took a long breath and slowly opened her eyes. Every person in the room began to utter words of gratitude to God. Suleiman pulled his daughter close to his chest, but his eyes remained fixed on Zainab Bibi and Imran. Suleiman fulfilled his promise. He announced that his entire grand mansion would be converted into an orphanage and a madrasa, and he decided to live the rest of his life as an ordinary man. He gave Zainab Bibi the status of a mother and accepted Imran as his rightful heir. Where he once intended to build a stable, he instead built homes for widows whose lands he had once taken. Today, Suleiman is no longer a landlord, but he has become a true human being. His life teaches us that the intoxication of wealth and power blinds a person, but no one can escape the grasp of Allah. If you ever hurt someone, remember that between the cry of the oppressed and the justice of Allah, there is no barrier. The one who once took away others' roofs now provides shade to others and has attained true peace. It is true that arrogance is always brought low, and sincere repentance can change a person's destiny.
If you're interested in more moral stories, feel free to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Also, press the bell icon so you get notified first whenever a new video is uploaded. The stories we share are not only for children, but also suitable for adults and families, as they are educational and provide life lessons that help in making better decisions. Let us know in the comments how you like the story. We'll meet again in the next video. Thank you.